Going to get going to get a free mower right now. It's an old Honda Harmony HR215, something like that. And we'll see how good it is. I have no idea. It looks like it's been sitting out. It's all faded, you know, but hey, get that Honda engine going. People love those Honda engines. All right, got the Honda Harmony. Got the air filter and the cover are in the bag here, and there's a new spark plug in the bag. He said he just couldn't get it running, but it ran fine a year ago. So it's one of those plastic deck ones, which is good because then it can't rust, but plastic can shatter, I guess. So, all right, let's get it home and see what we got. All right, this is the Harmony HRB215. I need to add, oh man, I'm out of breath. I should start working out or something. Nah. All right, anyway, I need to throw a spark plug in there, and I've got the air cleaner cover and the air filter. They're back in the bag. See what the guy gave me. Not too bad. Not great. And auto light spark plug. I'll have to check the gap. I don't know. Looks fine. I'll check the part number and all that stuff. It's a 64. All right. So when I look this up, this should be the right one for this mower. Wow. What took it out with something like gouged the snot out of that. Anyway, I've got one of these cheap little guys to check the gap. And as you can see, we've got 40 thousandths. And then 50 is up there, so each one is just one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So right before that longer one, let's just see. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna go, it's not going any higher. It won't go up there. So that looks about right. So let's throw that spark plug in, and I'm gonna verify some gas and oil and try to crank it a little bit. Using a 13/16, you know, special, don't do that. Special socket that's got the rubber inside to protect, you know, all the porcelain parts and everything that I'm throwing on the floor. So let's get that started. Come on. There we go. Not going too tight, you know. Get it on there. Get that boot on there nicely. There you go. It's on there securely. All right, let's verify oil. Don't want to try to start. Oh my gosh. go. And don't want to start an engine with no oil in it. There's oil there. So, good enough. Once again, once I get it running, I'll check that. I'll do an oil change on it. See if we got any fuel. Huh. Kind of smells like there's something in there. But it doesn't really sound like it. So I'm actually gonna, I'll leave. No, I'm gonna turn that off just in case something weird happens. Turn that off and I'm gonna add some gas. All right, not putting too much in, but definitely enough where it should start if it wants to. Open the fuel valve. Choke is on. Give me a little foot stop here. Doesn't sound too good. Much starting fluid left, but there's some. Get the choke off so I can get it in there. Okay, let's clean the carb. All right, first shut off the fuel. Just get that turned off. Then we're going to use this is kind of a weird system. I'm not used to these Hondas. Actually, I've never had very good luck with Hondas, to be honest. I have good luck with Briggs and Stratton. So let me first just go for these 10mm socket. You got 2 of them down here, and you're just pulling off the nut. They're studs that are coming all the way. There's a bunch of stuff mixed in there, so try to be careful when you're doing this to make sure that you're remembering where everything goes. Got one more right up here. Holy cow, you know what? Let's use a ratchet. There we go. And this one actually is a bolt. So that's the difference. All right. Well, and this tube is broken. It just attaches onto here. It's got a little cut in it. So if I get this thing running nicely, that'll be one of the things that I replace so that it's working correctly. Just lay that to the side. And this stuff, this is all just on these 2 studs here. So you get your gasket off first. Doesn't look too bad. And then I guess here's my fuel line coming back around from there. So got a weird little connector. Just see if I can shove that whole thing off. Oh, that is hard. That is an old, gross fuel line that needs to be replaced. just force that off with a screwdriver. There we go. Dripping a little bit of fuel, but because I turned it off here, it shouldn't be too bad. All right, so I don't want to have to take this whole piece off. You know what? I might be able to just get that guy right there. Use the ratchet again. These things haven't been touched in years. Always easier to use a ratchet to break it free. And then once that's free, I think I can move all that linkage. So that, again, that's a bolt, much shorter than the other bolt that was holding on that airbox. So, and that looks all stripped on one end, kind of, so that's weird. Oh, one more down there. Ah, man. There we go. And that's the cool thing. I think, honestly, my favorite thing about Honda engines is that they just use the 10mm. You don't have to jump back and forth between 2 or 3 different sizes. They just, if you're pulling off a carburetor, it's a 10. All right. So once again, those two are the same size. For that linkage plate, I don't know exactly what that thing's called, but now that whole thing's moving, which is good. So we can just kind of slide the whole thing, and that allows the carburetor to come completely off of those studs, because we still got to remove these. So there's a little tiny spring that's hooked up right here. Get that guy out first. There we go. All right, so this long piece is coming in. Okay, yeah, you got to turn the whole thing so it goes in here. When you put it back on, it goes in the hole there, and then the whole piece slides, and then the spring hooks in that little hole. And then this guy just popped off of here. So let me pull that off. And you know what? I'm actually going to leave this right here too, because I don't want to lose it. All right, I've always got a little container of gas. On these, the one that's going straight down takes the bowl off, but this one at the angle, you can remove all the old fuel that's in there. So I usually do that so I don't get too much on my hands. Ooh, that is nasty looking. Yeah, that looked a little foggy. So back on. It's always good to have an old container of gas so that you can, I don't know, throw it on old weeds. It kills them. I know. Everyone's freaking out right now. What? He pours gasoline on weeds? Sometimes. Sometimes I do. All right. My washer stayed on there. Okay, there we go. That's pretty gross. There's like chunks. It's not, I mean, I've seen more gummed up looking stuff, but we got chunks. It's like sand. Huh. It's interesting what people put in their tanks. I've never understood how they quite get as bad as they do. All right, so we've got this little pin. Remove that. And then your float. And then the needle is attached to the float there on the bottom. Cute little guy hanging there. And he's hanging by a spring. So it can come out if you want it to. It can slide up through there and come on out, but right now we're going to leave it alone. But once again, look at all this stuff. Look at that. That's definitely a little more sludgy. Gross. So as I'm going, I'm just going to kind of wipe that kind of stuff down. All right, so inside this tube, you can see there's a slot for a screwdriver. And there are other tools that they want you to use sometimes, but I just use like a small screwdriver to get in there and give it some good pressure. Because if it's stuck, you don't want to strip that, take a big gouge out of it. All right, that should be enough. Sometimes on these you have to like bang them a little bit, just tap. There we go. So there's your jet. And let's see if we can see through it. Maybe. So now comes the infamous wire from a package of bread or pastries or whatever. Just pull all the green stuff off for a while, and then you take it and you just put it down into the hole, run it up and down a few times. Now you can see through it. Yeah, that was plugged. So a lot of times that's the only reason the carburetor is having an issue, is because that jet is plugged. It's clear now. So you can see too, off to the, on this side here, you've got another little, what appears to be a jet. Get this thing in there and just make sure that if there was anything in there, you're unclogging it. This is a very simple carburetor. There's not a lot of stuff. The only thing too, we've got some kind of a little adjuster right here. So if your idle isn't right, you can tweak it right here. But yeah, look at it's kind of goobered up in there too. So I'm going to spray it with some carb cleaner. Well, I was gonna. I've got like air left in there, or propellant, but no. Yeah, we're dead. That's gone. All right. I will then use my, you know what? I'm going to use my brake cleaner. Brake cleaner is amazing on this kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to use some CRC Brakleen. And just all that gummed up stuff, spray it on there. Yeah, it's all in there. And then down into that spot. Basically anywhere where you see holes going in here, doesn't hurt. Spray them out. Looks much better, but you can still see some stuff in there. I'm going to take a little bit of this shop towel. I'm going to wrap my screwdriver in the shop towel and kind of wedge it in there. See if I can get a little bit more gunk out that way. Yeah, that got a little bit. Okay, cool. Do the other side of that little butterfly valve. Yeah, it looks better. Do the same thing on this side a little bit. Try to just get it in there, and be careful with the sharp metal piece. You don't want to be scoring anything, damage something. But yeah. All right, now I'm going to take it over and do some compressed air. Same thing. I'm not going to videotape this part. It's just kind of hard, but oh, you know what? I'm gonna spray right down where that jet was. I'm gonna blow some through there, because the fuel comes in through this tube and goes, well, I'm just explaining that wrong. So the fuel comes in through this tube, so you got to make sure that's clear too. And then where your needle valve goes, right here, blow through there and through here as well. They all have little spots. I don't know if you could see that. Let me do it one more time here. I'm spraying in where the needle jet goes, and it's coming out where the fuel comes in. So those are clearly attached. So that's good to get that all clear. All right. I'm also going to spray this bowl out with this brake cleaner. And I'll just take some of this rag. Just get out as much of that junk as I can right there. And I even use this little stuff, and you can easily just kind of knock down all that little rust and stuff that's in there and get rid of any of that extra steel wool. I always forget the name of that. It seems kind of funny, but throw a little bit of that in there, twist it around, and then go blow everything out. So I'm gonna do that at this point. All right, I got it all clean, so just so you guys don't all freak out, watch this. I'm gonna put a nice clean sheet of Scott's shop towels down. Because why have a nice clean carburetor that you're laying on nasty towels? Okay, I am going to install this jet again. So you can still see in there, still see through there. So I blew everything out, all the orifices. Hopefully you can see it's a little cleaner. If not, that's okay. Ain't no thing. So just shove that in and gently start screwing it in. And at some point, it's just gonna stop. You can kind of make sure that it's at the end, but don't force it. This does not have to be crazy tight. So there. It stopped, so I'm done. Jet is back inside. Now I'm gonna wipe off this needle jet just a little bit. There's not really, and the float. I mean, if there's junk on there, if you can see anything, wipe it off. But that part actually looks really nice. Nothing really on the float. So the float with the needle jet still attached. You just drop them down like that. And then you take the pin and make sure that so make sure that you line it up. Okay, come on. Line up. There we go. That was weird. There. So it slides all the way through. You can see that goes up and down. Now, you know what? Usually, so it doesn't matter too much the way that the bowl is attached. I'm gonna clean off the lip here. There's still some junk on there. But there is, when this carburetor is on, if you want to be able to drain it, it does help to line it up a certain way. So, let me think. Yeah, I believe that it was on, like when I took it off, it was like that. So if I put it on like this, you can get to the draining bolt easier. So I'm going to try it that way. And hopefully that's good enough. And if it's not, I'll figure it out. I know some mowers in the past I've done, and like this bolt hits something, it bumps something if you're in the wrong spot. So, but I think, yeah, we'll see. All right, let's go put it back on and see if we can start it. Gonna get all these back in the right spot. So that one goes here. Little tiny spring. Yeah, okay, that just popped off. Little tiny spring goes in the little teeny hole. See if you can see it just right. Yeah, that little hole right on there. That probably needs to be done first. There we go. And now I will go ahead and this part just goes straight down, and then when you rotate it, pops right in. And then that goes in there. Let's see if I can do it while I'm starting it on here. Yeah, you know, there's always a great order, but it's hard to think of it while you're messing with it. But if I can get this on here and that thing moving, and then, oh yeah, here we go. Come on, pop on there. There we go. I'll go ahead and push on my fuel line. Like I said, that fuel line is very hard and kind of crunchy. Pull that clip down. I don't know that that is doing much good holding anything on, but oh well. All right, I'm going to put these 2 bolts back in. That one and this one down here a little bit lower. All right, so that part's back on. Now I have this little gasket. Wipe it off just a little bit. It has a little bit of gunk on it. And then this box. And remember, we got this hose up here that we are going to get on that little tube. Get that on there. And popping off. Put it on, yeah, just put it on after you line it up. Start it with that one, just because why not? Verify that tube is still on. It is. Then I'll use these two little nuts. No jokes there, please. And tighten them up. Turn on the fuel. See what happens. Just kidding. As you can hear, it's running great. I just need to figure out how to get the blades going. I just need to figure out the blade thing. There's a blade brake on it, but it looks to me like you have to push that in as you're pushing in the self-propelled lever. So I feel like one of them is in front of the other one that needs to be outside of it. So I have to do a little research on how this one works, but I think it's going now. Okay, super funny. Well, not super funny, but I was just over there by the mower looking at everything. And I believe they call these the emulsion tubes. I think this fell out of my carb while I was blowing the compressed air. So I didn't feel like it was revving as high as it should have when it was on the high speed, but let me at least, I'm now gonna pull that carburetor apart again and put this back in because obviously it's an important part. You can get it to run without it, but this has a lot of little different holes in it. You can see the giant hole up here, but then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you twist it at 90 degrees, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so when you twist it again, there's an extra one on that. So basically just go through every single one, making sure that they're all clear. And these looked okay. I looked at them before I started filming, but should have shown you on the camera. But just go through each one of those. And they're small, so get your readers on, like I got to keep doing. Oh, come on. That one doesn't want to go through. It's all the way, there we go. It's all the way through. It's just a little bit bent. Okay, so just, there we go. Got that through. And now I've lost count. I think I did them all, but it never hurts to do them all again. And you don't have to go both ways down there. I mean, you can, but you do the one set and then you turn it 90 degrees and do the other set, and you've pretty much gone all the way through, so. But yeah, do some compressed air as well on that. So you can go all the way through from the top, maybe. Yep. So do that just for kicks. Now I'll put it back in and we'll see if it runs better. All right. You know what? This time, I'm just taking this thing apart and I'm letting the fuel dump wherever. Ah, there it goes. Figured I better show you. Better show you where this tube goes. Okay, so remember when we took out the jet in here? You do? You remember that? Yeah, okay. Well, I should have maybe banged it down there a little harder, because there's the jet. But this goes down there too. Because when you look in there, you gotta have something. These line up, I believe, like this. I don't think it goes like that. The markings on it look like that, and that looks like it would line up better. So I am going to drop this in there. Yeah, that just came out while I was blowing the compressed air, so I'm glad I saw that. And you know what? I didn't do a very good job of showing you how to clean it, because I should have mentioned that that part should come out, because you saw all those little holes and you want to make sure those are not plugged. So this thing will probably start even better now, because I kept having to use the choke each time, and I don't think I should have had to do that. I don't know. All right. Get the pin back in. Well, of course it goes on way easier this time. All right, and so we were that way, and so we were saying that way. Okay. Piece of cake. Gosh, talking about like having an extra bolt left over or something. Man, I'm embarrassed. You know what though? It happens. No big deal. We're gonna try this again. Now that that piece is back in, let's see if it starts easier. I'm still gonna choke it. I think it helped. I don't know. It's hard to say. I did figure out what that the blade brake thing was though, and I was just not thinking about it correctly initially. So let me show you that piece too, just in case you don't know how to start and stop the blade, because it is weird. Check this out. So you've got your controls right here. You've got what gear you can go. If you've got a big lawn and you want to be in third gear, great. You know, you can push it all the way down to third gear. I don't know. I guess you have to be, maybe it already has to be moving or something. I don't know. But this part at least, so you've got these two separate, here's where it says blade control. And I was just like confused, because in order to make it self-propel, this far back one is the one. So if you push them both forward, you're moving, but your blade's not on. So I was like, what? What's going on? Well, it's this, and you can see in here when you push that yellow button, that mechanism goes up and down. So when it's all the way, let's see, so when it's all the way back, it's catching this inside there. It's going in there. And then, let's see, so when it's in, now you push the button, and then you push it forward, and then it's grabbed that whole piece and pulled it up. And so that's what engages the blade, because if you don't have it, this piece just stays down. So this whole piece has to come up in order for the blades to turn on. So I hope that helps, at least with that part. I'd never used this kind before, so that was news to me as well. I am going to pressure wash this thing up, get that bag all cleaned up, and see how much I can sell this thing for.